No.
Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us, from all of us here at the ASAP Network.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Real Talk. Got another special guest on the show today. Joshua's back with us. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate the love.
Definitely. Mr. Nate the Great here with us today. What's going on, Nate?
I'm excited. I'm excited to get this thing rocking and rolling.
Definitely. And then, of course, the man himself, Mr. Kenny. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Had a fun weekend. Had some things happen, and ready to talk about it.
Definitely. All right, well, let's jump right into things. We've seen some trades go down. We've seen a lot of movement around the league, both leagues. I have a question to jump us off. With the NBA and the way that is going on right now, it seems like, players are getting signed, relationships getting messed up, and there's these buyouts left and right, people becoming free agents in the middle of the season. How do you feel about it? Is it messing up the NBA? Is it good for the NBA? Nate, I'll go to you first. What do you think about it?
I think that even though it is good for certain teams, that if they play their cards right, that it is very, very good for those certain teams. I think we really get to see that the more and more of these happen. I don't think it really is good for the NBA because these teams are staying together for one season. You have, especially with the NBA trade deadline, where Magic just blew up their Magic lost some pieces. Nuggets gained and lost some pieces. Houston Rockets just completely decimated their roster. So I don't think, even though it helps some teams out, I don't think it helps the NBA out as a whole.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree with you on that. What you think, Josh?
Man, I think it's soft. You know what I'm saying? I'm back when in the 80s and the 90s when they was, competition.
Mm-hmm.
But I really can't complain about it because my Warriors did it, and we got, 3 rings up out of it? Well, 2 because we won without KD. So, I mean, it's pretty soft, but it's expected now. Like, with teams doing it, you got to have at least 2 to 3 superstars on the team to even really compete to be a real contender for finals. So, I think that's just the way it's going, man. Like I said, I don't like it, but hey, I can't really complain because my team won some chips with it. So it's just the way it's gonna be now. It is.
Definitely, we have to negate those ships,
Right.
Kenny, what you think?
Yeah, I just think it's part of the business when it comes to the NBA. These teams, all these contracts are guaranteed. So basically, what's happening now is when these guys, especially when the contracts don't work out, these teams are on the hook for the money, and as opposed to when they can't find a deal for these guys, they just buy them out. So I just think it's really the business because if we look at it, Drummond, he didn't. They didn't want to pay him. They weren't going to re-sign him. They were trying to find a trade partner for him, but the part I don't like about it is sitting the guys out. Like to me, that's really the organizations trying to protect their assets to make sure that they don't get hurt before, so that they can make a deal. And to me, I think that's the part of the business that's really messing it up. Because this is nothing new in terms of buyouts. Guys have been getting bought out all the time. Now they're just totally shutting these guys down and not even playing them. So I think that's what's taking it to the next level and it's kind of leaving a bad taste in people's mouths. So I just think they just need to, let these guys play because to me, that's the whole thing that really takes the competition out of it. Where you got these guys just sitting on the shelf and they're healthy and they're able to play, and they're just choosing not to play these guys just to be able to try to make a deal. So that's the part that I don't like.
Yeah. And I mean, to add on that too, I mean, the messed up part to me that I'm finding, and we'll stick on the Andre Drummond portion. To me, the NBA had leverage. These other teams had leverage, like the Lakers, like the Clippers, like all these other teams that are contenders sitting in the background. They have leverage because if this guy, and the younger teams don't want to bring on that big of a contract. They know that the guy doesn't really want to come there and play because he's leaving a situation like that already. We can see the proof is in the pudding type thing. So it gives them the chance, like, okay, they're not going to touch him. So we're going to lowball these trade offers. And when he gets bought out, he's coming to one of us anyways. So what did it cost the Lakers? Like $900,000 for Andre Drummond this season? So
that minimum.
Yeah, so in the same thing with Blake, and the same thing going again with DeMarcus talking about going over there. So when you look at this thing as a whole, it's horrible. I think that they need to go ahead and make some changes with the current state of the buyouts and the way that the players have taken leverage. We're never going to see the 90s, the 80s type of conglomerate with the teams anymore. We're never going to see, Stockton, Malone play together for 16 years. We're not going to see those type of things any longer with the way that the current state is and the players having this much leverage. So they definitely got to do something. I think it's either one or the other. You take your buyout agreement or you chop it up to a loss. They hold some dead money, and then you go on and re-sign to another team that season. Something has to give because I just don't like the way it's set up here.
Where do you think the leverage is? Because the players really they don't have a say so where they get traded to.
True.
So really the leverage is the really. I don't really see. I think the problem is that the teams don't have leverage because, like you said, they have these guys that they're trying to trade because they know either they trade them or they walk. So they don't have leverage. So I think that's what's affecting. Like you said, teams are not going to make great offers for guys that they can get in free agency.
Yeah,
So
and you're
either
right. It's both ways. It's definitely both ways because to me, in my eyes, I think Andre Drummond has all the leverage. Because on the flip side, let's say Andre Drummond was the one saying, "Hey, I'm not playing right now because I don't feel like I'm gonna be here much longer, and I feel like I'm gonna either get cut or get traded. So I'm gonna sit out until one of those happens, so I don't get hurt, so it doesn't mess up my own chances, right?" Now,
but I don't
you
think
got
you
a
could do
guy
that though because they'll get fined.
when you guys are at that bad of a clash, and again, this is where it comes back to a flip side because you're right. The team in that position, you don't want that to come out that he's doing that because that's going to hurt his trade value too. So it's kind of a double-edged sword because
Hmm.
to me, as a team, you messed up, first of all, when you went out and signed him for all this incredibly, stupid amount of money where it's an untradeable contract. And that's on these teams, on these free agency races. They're trying to win, so they do create some untradeable contracts. And, and a la Blake Griffin, a lot of people thought he was done. So his contract didn't amount to his production. You know what I mean? So they wouldn't make that trade. Now, fast forward, I think a lot of people would go back 3 months from now and make that trade, seeing him going to New Jersey and coming back out and playing ball again. So it's a double-edged sword in that category to me.
Absolutely, it absolutely is.
It really makes it rough. Now, I mean, kind of with the same boat, staying in this kind of category, we got guys like James Harden who was able to find his way over to New Jersey because of a buyout or a trade, but he was forcing his way over there regardless. They just ended up going there. Now, looking at that New Jersey Nets roster, that they get Blake Griffin from a buyout. DeMarcus Cousins is talking about coming over there off of a buyout. That roster from head to toe is stacked every which way you can look at it. How do you feel, Josh, if the Nets don't lose or don't win a championship with this squad? What does that do to the Big Three's legacy?
Like I've always said at the beginning of the season, this finals are bust for the Nets. So, but with the Big Three, I mean, fanboys I don't give nobody passes. They don't get a pass from me, but fanboys gave LeBron, Bosh, and Wade a pass because they said it was their first year. They need to jail. I don't give them that pass. So if they want to if they don't win it this year, I don't want to hear those fanboys talk about they failed and stuff like that. Nah, y'all gave LeBron a pass. Give these boys a pass. But like to me, it's just I think the most pressure is on Harden, but they'll blame probably KD, and then it'll look bad though to me. You know what I'm saying? Because they choked. There's no way they should lose. Even when the Lakers is healthy, anybody healthy, they stack. Marcus is 35. I mean, he watched to me, but coming off the bench, hey, it's still an upgrade. But so they really don't have no excuse other than injury. So it's gonna look bad on them though. But hey, like I said, they gave LeBron and them boys a pass in Miami the first year. So I don't want to hear them, you know what I'm saying, clowning if the Nets don't do it. So, but I don't give them a pass. I'm a Warrior fan. We wouldn't have got.
That's a good take on it. That's definitely a good take.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We wouldn't have got a pass if KD would have came, and we would have lost. So they don't get no pass from me. But those LeBron fans, I don't want to hear nothing.
Yeah, because they wasn't giving KD no love. If he would have lost, he was about to get ripped. He was about to get ripped to go to State.
Exactly. They gave him a pass in Miami though, because they said they needed to jail their first year. So they lost to Dirk and them boys. So we'll see.
Some Hall of Famers too.
Hey.
You agree with him, Nate?
Yeah. I don't. I definitely think that they should win. They should definitely win with the roster that they have. But looking at the coaching staff, you have a head coach who hasn't, this is his first year coaching period. I agree with you, Josh. But the thing is, if they don't win the finals this year, I don't think they should blow it up. Maybe make a few changes, but I don't think you should blow it up.
So I mean, with that being said, so are you saying this final was a bust and they just don't have to win, or?
So no, what I'm saying is that even though I think that I'm kind of going back and forth on whether I would give them a pass or not, because even though they have all these players with experience and even though they have a great bench and they have 3 great superstars, their coaching staff might be the difference on how they're going to do in the postseason.
Okay.
You have a head coach who has not coached. This is his first year of coaching, so that makes sense. That's where I'm standing on it.
Yeah,
that makes total sense.
Coaching,
Kenny.
No, they can't. No, they can't get a. This will definitely damage their legacy. There's no ifs, ands, or no ways around it for me. Because uh, LeBron, the fanboys, it may have been fanboys, but everybody else was killing the Heat that first year, especially LeBron, because they was calling him a choke. They said he choked in the playoffs, and he
Yeah.
did. And then whoever those fanboys are, those are LeBron fans. But anybody that watches basketball and knows basketball knows that LeBron did not want the ball in the fourth quarter or the
Thank you.
final series.
Thank you.
So these are just the facts. So but it's the same standard. Like they have a team with all of that talent. You have to win a championship. And I'm sure, KD, I'm sure Kyrie, I'm sure Harden, they all believe the same thing. Like they are, they probably of the same mentality. So if they lose one and then turn around and come back and win the next two or three, it may not be as bad of a hit, but they definitely have to win a championship in the next. They got to win multiple championships in the next 3 years in order for their legacy to be cemented. In my opinion,
It's a must.
Yeah, I said it when the rumors came out about Harden. I said, I'm not sure if they're going to win this one, but they're going to win 2 out of the next 3. However it works out, and they have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, people could say finals or bust. No. This team has to win multiple championships together because you have what some consider the best point guard, top 10 at least of all time, and I'm gonna stand behind him. I've since Kyrie's came in the league, he's probably one of the best finishers around the rim I've seen. You know what I mean? Then you got James Harden, who is by far considered one of the best scorers of all time. He's one of the best offensive players to play basketball. Then you got
best
Kevin
scores
Durant.
and passes.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Offensively, James Harden is a guru. He is a guru. And then you got Kevin Durant, who is right there in the same conversation as one of the most efficient, if not one of the best scorers of all time. When you put those 3 together, before we even start naming
Right.
anything else,
Mm-hmm.
that you know what I'm saying? That's the
That's
5.0 of the Mustang. Forget about the bells and whistles that come along with the car. Look at the engine itself. So you know what I mean. Looking at that alone they were right here with expectations. So now you add in a Blake Griffin. Now you add in a DeAndre Jordan. You add in a Joe Harris. You add in a LaMarcus Aldridge. You start stacking the expectation level. So this team is 2 championships or nothing. And
Let me say this real quick though about the whole stacking. Um, let's not get it twisted. And I think John said it. Like LaMarcus Aldridge is 35 years old. We're not talking about the Portland LaMarcus Aldridge. We're talking
not.
about 30. You know what I'm saying? We talk about Blake Griffin that they were saying he hadn't dunked in 2 years. So we're not. You know what I'm saying? This ain't Lob City Blake Griffin.
Now time out.
It's just
Game 1, Blake Griffin came out and made a statement. I ain't dunked because I ain't want to dunk. And I believe that. I watched him in Detroit. I'm like, who is this dude? You get the ball, turn over, face up, you fake, and then you take a jumper, fade away. Who is he? That's not his game. Now, you know what I'm saying?
He was probably, he rounded out his game because he started out as that high flyer and then he started adding pieces to his game. So, and that's what gives you longevity in this league is that because you only got so many jumps in your legs.
You're right. But I also think it had a lot to do with him not wanting to be in Detroit.
Oh, I'm sure. Because, losing situation, that does take a toll on you. No question about it. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Ask John Wall. Ask John Wall right
worse in the league, too.
Man.
But that's the thing, though. I mean, looking at it, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we're getting the best LaMarcus Aldridge. I'm not saying we're getting the best DeAndre Jordan. But put DeAndre Jordan in Sacramento, I agree with you. Put DeAndre Jordan with the 5.0 engine we just talked about, and DeAndre Jordan is better than a lot of other players you can have at that position with them. You know what I mean? It's about fitting in and doing your responsibilities. DeAndre Jordan's going to stand around that rim, block shots, and he's going to get rebounds. Period. LaMarcus Aldridge is gonna come in. He's gonna put his hand up and he's gonna get rebounds. And when he gets those rebounds, he's gonna put the ball back. And the same thing goes with Blake Griffin. He just has a little bit of a 18-foot jump shot to go with it. So it's not that they're the best of what they were. It's the experience that they have, the capabilities that they have, and them being put with a 5.0 engine. You know what I mean? So
No, absolutely. They'll be more effective than they would have been on other teams. I agree with you for sure.
It kind of reminds me of the local team with Kobe and Shaq, and they got Malone and Gary Payton. They look good on paper, man, but that pressure got to them when they faced Detroit. They couldn't handle it. So
Yeah, they were older.
teams, though.
Yeah, they were a little older. Oh, then also I
I mean,
think
they brought out
about
the year before.
yeah, and then, I think about even like your team, Josh, and those KD years and the Steph years. They were bringing guys like the Swaggy P, the Matt Barnes, and
Andre
JaVale McGree.
Iguodala.
You know what I'm saying? The Leandro Barbosas, those type of guys. Like, you know what I mean? They brought those guys in. Because sometimes you need those. You need those vets to be able to, give you a little lift off the bench. So. Because we always said, after they made the Harden trade, everybody said that the Nets had no bench.
None.
So you can't say they had no bench, and then they make moves to address their bench, and then now it's backing. You know what I mean?
I was just
I
saying
ain't saying it's the players.
talking about that.
Like, again, we just got off the buyout conversation. It's the players looking at the Lakers. It's the players that they were able to get in the situations they were in. And that's what's creating this. That's why the buyout situation is making it a little tough for the rest of the NBA to catch up. You know what I mean? You got Brooklyn, who goes and trades 8 players away, and they're not supposed to be able to make that up in one season.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean? So those are the situations where this buyout situation makes it different, and I do say it is still stacking because Andre Drummond should have been somewhere else. Let's be honest. Blake Griffin should have been somewhere else. Let's be honest. LaMarcus Aldridge, not that big of a deal. He was already on his way down. We didn't know if he was going to get signed. But Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin, those type of players, they should not be making their way to LA. They should not be making their way to Brooklyn this late in the season.
Well, you got to look at this too, though, that these teams are getting off the hook for the rest of their contract for the rest of that season. So there's a reason why they're doing that buyout. Like, they could have kept those guys and paid to pay the rest of their contract for the rest of the year. So they're saving some money. So there's some benefit that they're getting out of this situation too.
Yeah,
so it's a reason why they're buying them out. They could have stuck them. They could have stayed there. If they couldn't make a deal, they could have stayed there and just did a sign and trade at the end of the year after they became free agents, or let them walk as free agents and just lose their money off the cap. So they didn't have to buy them out.
And you're right, but let's be honest. Where's Detroit at?
They're at the bottom.
And both of these players came from Detroit. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and they traded for both of them too. Remember that. They traded for Blake Griffin. They traded for Andre Drummond. They drafted Andre Drummond. But Cleveland traded for Andre Drummond. So, both of these teams made deals for these guys, and then they didn't pan out. So, you got to take that on the chin.
We should start penalizing these teams. If the player you bought out wins the championship or goes to the final next year, you lose
right, stop your draft pick. That's right. Yeah. I like it. That'll fix it. That'll stop those buyouts.
But keep it with the same motion. What's the state of the Lakers now, Kenny?
The state of the Lakers is they get a chance to see what their role players can do. You got the Marquise Morrises, you got the THTs, you got the Kyle Kuzma. Now these guys are all getting the opportunity, and now you bring in Andre Drummond, and he gets a chance to be. They could feature him in the offense until AD and LeBron comes back. So because Shaq always makes this point about the others. That these guys you always gotta have the role players or the others that make plays in the playoffs. So now that they're getting this opportunity, to kind of be the guys, quote unquote, to step up in the place of LeBron and AD, They get a chance to make plays. They get a chance to score. So this could benefit them down, in the playoffs.
Definitely. I mean, Josh. I mean, is that how you feeling with this as well? I mean,
Pretty much. They're right where I want them to be. You know what I'm saying? Struggling.
Yeah, same here.
Right.
Being a huge diehard
But
I ain't mad at you, Josh.
like I was talking to my homeboy who's a Laker fan. He's saying that this is kind of the reason why he didn't want LeBron. I mean, he happy with the championship, but this is LeBron effect because when he ain't playing, he like they get the whole team to get LeBron, and then when he ain't playing, they got these just whole bunch of role players that don't know how to play with each other because they just so relying on LeBron or AD. You know what I mean? So when they not playing, it's like, or when LeBron not there, it's like, yo, it's chaos. You know what I mean? Because they don't really know what to do without LeBron being there. So he kind of seeing. So now Laker fans is kind of seeing that, okay, if LeBron ain't here, we trash. You know what I mean? So hey, I like it.
hey, I'm right there with you, bro. I am
Man.
right there. As long as the Lakers are struggling, I don't care who they got on the court. As long as they're
Right.
struggling, I'm right there. Cause and that's the thing too, man. I think that like you said, they gutted the team twice. They gutted the team to get LeBron. They gutted the team to get AD. And you kind of saw how top heavy they were and how they didn't have no bottom end at all. But we're really about to put them to the test now. We're about to see. I think if you look at it from the perspective of the Lakers front office, this is their trial. This is their tryout. Are y'all gonna be on the team next year? Alex Caruso, Kyle Kuzma. Are we keeping y'all next year? Or are we shipping y'all away for something else? So I definitely think that all eyes are on the bench right now. We're trying to see how good they are, especially with New Jersey making moves and all this stuff going around. What you think, Nate?
Being a huge Denver Nuggets fan, I'm kind of happy about what's going on with the Lakers right now.
All you Western Conference guys are happy.
Oh yeah, you gotta
but
be.
I will.
I understand.
I have to say this though. Without the Lakers, and I hate to be Mr. I basically I hate to be the one to repeat the same point. But without the Lakers, without the LeBron and AD, they're not going very far. Even if they even make it to the playoffs. Now there is a bigger chance within this play game because of 10 not because of the
7-10.
7 and 10 and 8 9. Playing games. So there is a bigger chance for the Lakers to make it to the playoffs. Especially making it into the playoffs play-in seed, but it's not going. It's not if they make it without a LeBron there, they're not winning past. They're not making it past the first round. They're not making it past the playing game.
We definitely know they're making the playoffs. It's just,
They're not gonna slip that far.
Yeah, if they fall out the playoffs, Andre Drummond is not gonna be in there.
Yeah, they got enough talent to
Stay afloat.
to stay afloat, to be about 500, a little over 500. Oh, that's all. To me, if I'm a Lakers fan, I just want them to be 500 to be able to kind of just keep the boat afloat and just stand it, keep it going until they get to get the big dogs back, because they still got Schroeder, you got Harold, you got Drummond coming in, you got Kuzma. These ain't, you know what I'm saying? That's still some talent level there. THT, they got a talent. KCP, they got you said Caruso, so they still got some guys that even Wesley Matthews, they still got some guys. Yeah, they got some guys that can make plays and do some things in this league. So it's not like they're now a lottery team now. They still got some guys, so they should be able to at least play 500 ball. If they're able to do that, then they really don't need, with that talent, with a healthy AD and LeBron, they're not worried about home court advantage.
Right.
You can't be.
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Now, I had a couple Laker fans. No, it was a few Laker fans a few years ago when Kuzma was balling, talking about Kuzma is better than than Tatum. Like they used to always compare Tatum and Kuzma. Now we gonna see. You know what I mean? Like Tatum
Right.
now. You know what I'm saying? Let's see Kuzma take over. They was like, oh, now they making the excuse. Kuzma stutters the growth with AD coming and stuff like that. So, all right, he got his time to shine now. So let's see it. They was the
Hey,
That's
vote.
right.
Lakers fans, they always have some weird, quirky player that they think is just the best player, like Smush Parker. What's his name? Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? They always have some
uh,
weird, quirky player they thought
Right.
was a beast.
And I hope last time LeBron came back from that groin injury, Lakers didn't do too good. So hopefully it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? He come back from an injury, they still tank. He tried to say it's playoff mode, and they didn't even make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? After he came back, but I mean, he got AD on his team now, so they definitely gonna make the playoffs. But hopefully they choking with those.
Hey, quick round of yes or no. LeBron, do the Lakers finish still in the top four? Josh,
No.
Nah,
Nate,
No.
yeah,
Kid.
definitely. Yeah, no, they probably five
yeah,
or six.
5-6.
Hey, it all depends on you, Nate. It all lies on Denver. If Denver
Yeah.
can make that run, it
They
all lies on
should.
Denver.
They should.
Yeah. Well, let's take a little bit of a switch. Let's switch over. We've talked about him for quite a few months. Who we all project here to be the number one quarterback taken off the board, Trevor Lawrence, announcing that he is not attending the draft. Big deal, no deal, or no story? What you think, Josh?
I don't think it's a story because to me he's gonna be the number one, so there's nothing really to prove, especially with this COVID thing. So I'm not surprised at it. So hey, it's really not no big deal to me.
Nate?
All right, I'm with them. I'm not surprised whatsoever. To be honest, to be honest, if it's an outdoor draft, right?
Supposed to be.
Yes, I believe. I
Oh,
think it's
sorry.
the Hall
Yeah.
of Fame.
I mean, if it was indoor draft, I'm glad he made that choice. To be honest with you, but it being an outdoor draft, it's not really too big of a deal.
Okay. Kenny?
Yeah, no big deal. I think he's choosing to experience the draft with his family and friends. Like, what? How can you have an issue with that? Like the guy, this is his one moment. This is the moment he's been dreaming of his whole life. If he chooses to spend it with the people that he's closest to, I can't fault him for that.
Mhm.
Not at all.
Now, question for you guys. Do you guys feel like this is going to start being a trend that we're going to start seeing more and more with the years to come now that we've had a full year last year where the draft was kind of in homes? I'll go with you first, Nate.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Especially for the guys that have a higher draft pick. I mean, I do think people are going to get the option, but I feel like that you're going to see more of it being with the guys that have. I'll even go as far as say second round.
So you're going to say more later round, mid round, first rounders, and possible mid late or early second rounders will be there now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mm.
What you think, Kenny?
Um, I don't know because I think that as we kind of get this whole people getting vaccinated and as COVID starts to hopefully eventually start to slow down the spread of it. It's still these guys' dream to that draft day to be able to go up and shake the commissioner's hand. I'm sure that's still a lot of these guys' dream. So I'm not sure if it's going to slow it down. It may, you may see more guys, doing their thing at home. But I think as the COVID levels go down, and I think we'll see more guys, especially if they continue to do it outside, even with with or without the COVID factor. I think there's guys, a lot of guys that still want to be able to have that experience of
That
shaking the
moment.
commissioner's hand, holding up that jersey, and having that whole moment.
can I just say one thing real quick? With this coming up, with this coming up draft, I definitely see more players going and being out more. I can definitely see not a lot of people wanting to do what Trevor Lawrence did. that's because they've been stuck at home for quite a while. Outside of playing the football games they play, they've been stuck at home for quite a while. So I can definitely see more and more people as the COVID numbers go down. That as for now, I can see it all being shaking the commissioner's hand and stuff. But after that goes away, that's where I can see more of the high draft picks wanting to stay home.
That makes sense. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, I'm with Kenny, man. I won't be surprised if some, you know what I'm saying, stay home. But I think it's majority of all the draftees dream to go up there and put this hat on. You know what I mean? So have a chance to for this team. So yeah, I think you know what I'm saying more people will go to the draft than stay home though. But I wouldn't be surprised if some stayed at the house.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, I don't think it's a necessary a no story. I think it's a no deal. If you ask me, I didn't expect Trevor to do it. He's the shoe in at this point. Looks like number one pick, and kind of like what everybody said that experience. I would have thought that Trevor was that type of guy that, from the outside looking in, that would have went and took that moment. But it's good to see also that he's down to business. He's ready to get it going, and he's not here for the lights and the glamour. So that's a good thing to see
Mhm.
from your number one pick as a quarterback, especially. But I don't think it'll be a trend. I think it'll pretty much dwindle down next season. Probably be our last real season with people kind of undecided because of COVID issues. So hopefully that put everything back in perspective of getting back to the traditions of that draft and how prestigious it really is.
Especially if you're gonna get drafted by the best team in the world, baby. You know what I mean?
I don't see no red over there.
Dang it, I should have brought.
Hey, exactly.
I don't see no red over there, man.
You see the colors, you know what I mean?
Y'all
We
already know
definitely
it's
ain't
two
talking about the
words.
blue. We
America's
definitely
team. That is
I
two
know,
words. That's
man.
all that needs to be said. America's team.
We take
no man. No, but
it.
let's move on, man. We saw quite a couple of trades that really are gonna shake up the draft, if you ask me. We just talked about last week how many quarterbacks can go and how it would work out, and I think we've seen the shuffleboard start to move around and give us those ideas a little bit more clear. Josh, I'm gonna go with you. Um, just overall, before we actually dig in on each one, what do you think those couple of trades that just went down? What do you think those are going to do, and how are they going to impact the draft?
Well, what about Jimmy G now?
We got Jimmy G.
49ers.
Yep. We
Yeah.
got Jimmy G. Is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Were they going to cut him? What do you think's going? What do you think this is going to kind of pan out? What kind of domino effects you see
With
happening?
Jimmy, I just read that he's not too happy about it. You know what I mean? So just
You know, say.
yeah. So, I don't know how that's going to, you know what I'm saying, boil down. So, hey, I don't like the Niners, so it's gonna make it a little tough over there. But I think he on his way out because you're not gonna trade up that high to take a project. You know what I mean? He's not gonna be sitting long nowadays. So I think that's gonna be probably one of the biggest trades is because they traded so high. So I want to see how that folds. I still hope they, you know what I'm saying, they still crumble, have a bad year. Be doing my team. They always be kicking my team out the playoffs. So yeah, hopefully
Yeah,
that just
they definitely gave up a third rounder this year, and a first rounder next year and the year after. Of course, they're number 12 this year as well. So they swapped first
They moved up to
rounders,
3.
and they gave 2 first rounders and a third.
yeah. So hopefully, like I said, the Niners, you know what I'm saying, crumble or they just have a hard time keeping Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? He make it hard for them to trade and stuff like that because I don't know who got leverage in that, but I just want them to struggle. So I'm glad there's a little bit of turmoil in that situation.
We definitely agree on that part. Nate, what you think?
Um, because I think they're going to draft Justin Fields in this this draft, this goes one step closer towards my hot take I said a few weeks back. Actually, it was last week, I think. Um, I see Jimmy G going to Denver. To be honest with you, as much as I don't want it, and as much as I want us to get Watson, it's not going to happen with what is the stuff that's been going on with him. Um, yeah, I see him going. I see him going to Denver.
Kenny.
Yeah, I think that I hope Jimmy G is renting and not buying in San Francisco because I think he's basically on a 1 year lease or a 1 year leash. Basically, I think they're drafting this quarterback. They're drafting his successor. That's pretty much what they did with this deal. I don't think I think Jimmy G will still be the starting quarterback next year, but this guy, whoever if they draft Justin Fields or whoever it is that they decide to take at 3, this clearly says that they don't see Jimmy G as the future or as their franchise quarterback because you don't trade up to the 3rd spot
Right.
and you know what I'm saying. You don't trade up to that spot to not take a quarterback. You clearly moved up to that spot to take a quarterback. So then there's no way that you draft a quarterback at that 3rd spot with not with the intentions of being able to play him going forward. So I think they draft one of those guys and they sit for a year, sit behind Jimmy G, and then he starts the next year and they find Jimmy G another home. So yeah, I think his days are numbered in San Francisco.
You know, this is kind of a rub off of what we were talking about earlier with the buyout situation, these bad contracts and guaranteed. San Francisco made a really good contract, situation in this Jimmy G thing. They can cut him
Before he proved himself, they gave it to him too early.
Well, no, they can cut him and know he's $2 million worth of dead money.
No, I'm saying when they originally signed that. When they originally signed him off to that deal, I'm saying they did it too early because he didn't prove that he was that guy yet.
Yo, yeah, 1,000%. But they did it team friendly. They set it up just in case you didn't perform. We ain't hurt, and that's what I'll say. That on the Jimmy G side, he took a big gamble because he was like, all right, I'm gonna take the bag right now, but I gotta prove myself because if I don't, my job can be gone and this bag is nothing because he dwindles all the way down. So San Francisco's in a really good spot. We all know that you don't trade 2 first-round picks and a 3rd-round pick to draft a lineman.
Right.
It's not gonna happen.
Right, so, but so-called faithful fans was calling him a top 10 quarterback the last couple of years. You know what I mean? Just because he took him to the Super Bowl.
Who, Jimmy G?
I mean, he didn't take him to the Super Bowl, but you know what I'm saying?
Right, that running game.
Yeah, and the defense.
Well, he inherited a good team.
Right, but they was claiming he was top 10. Hey, I got the receipts too. I screenshot everything. So
man, if he ends up in Denver next year, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that's not an outlandish thing, but I do think that really shook up the draft. I really think what we talked about last week, 4 or 5, is guaranteed now. It is guaranteed because I don't think the other 2 make it out of the 1st round now because teams that need quarterbacks are going to be trigger happy because look what's going on. But I mean, outside of that, the Dolphins went back, okay, and traded away the 12th and a 2022 first-round pick to the Eagles for the 6th.
Hey, not that. Wow.
So they traded a 2022 pick, so they're still gonna have a pick next year, regardless. And they moved up. So like, what do you think they're gonna do with this pick at 6? What do you think the Dolphins do? Let's go with you, Nate.
So for that number 1, I mean that number 6 overall pick, I think they're going to draft a wide receiver. Because that's usually the weapons for the quarterback. I think are usually the second group off the board. I know going a couple picks down with my team, I don't think Denver will draft their wide receiver, but I'm getting off topic a little bit. Going back to Miami, yeah, I think that they're going to draft a wide receiver, maybe one of the Alabama wide receivers. I don't know, but I think they're going to draft one of the Alabama wide receivers.
Kenny?
Yeah, I agree with Nate. I think they go with a playmaker here, and of course, you got Tua already. He's familiar. It totally makes sense for them to draft one of the Alabama wide receivers because Tua's already familiar with them. They played together in college. They could kind of rekindle what they did at Alabama. You put him, and that's what they need is that guy that could take the top off of the defense. So I definitely agree with Nate that they go with that playmaker wide receiver at that spot.
Josh?
Yeah, I'm with both Kenny and Nate. I think it's only right that they draft a receiver to give Tua some weapons or a weapon, a big weapon, a target. No matter how you say it, they need to give him some weapons over there in Miami. It's not looking too good.
No one thinks Mika Parsons, huh?
Not so much.
I feel like he's going to go down. I feel like he's going to be taken by Dallas, actually.
No, I'm joking. No,
we're going corner. We're going defense.
Yeah, I definitely agree that they're gonna go wide receiver. I'm still split whether they go Chase or Waddle. Makes more sense to go obviously Waddle. But I really like what Miami did with this pick. You know that you don't want a quarterback. You know that drafting a lineman at that position kind of will set you back a year, really, as far as being high up in the draft and getting somebody talented enough to come in and make changes the first year. So I think trading back, gaining the first round pick from trading back and only moving back 3 spots out of the deal is really, really good management. So I commend them for that. My hat's off to them. And hopefully Waddle and Tua can connect up again, man. That would be nice.
Yeah.
That would definitely be nice.
Miami definitely won that trade. 49ers, I think they improved from this trade. Eagles, I like what they were trying to do because they attempted to trade for the second overall pick. I like what they were trying to do, but they definitely lost this trade.
But I think that trading down means that they believe that Jalen Hurts is going to be the guy next year because you only trade up to those top 2 picks if you're taking a quarterback. So I think if you're trading down, that means you're trading out of the quarterback slot and you're going down to get best available or the best fit for your team at that spot. So I think that means that Jalen Hurts is going to be the quarterback next year. I mean, you already traded Carson Wentz to give him this opportunity. So it wouldn't have made sense to me to trade Wentz and then trade up and draft another quarterback after you drafted the then you drafted a quarterback back-to-back years. That to me, that wouldn't have made any sense. So
trading up to draft them back-to-back years, kind of like what that's kind of a step further than what the Cardinals did. And you got to remember too, man. At the end of the day, this is one of those trust the process statements. You move back, you gather an extra pick, you put an extra body that's better on the field with a younger, a rookie contract, and you trust the process. And with guys like Justin, I was about to call him Justin Fields, but guys like Jalen, guys like Tua, these type of guys, Justin Herbert over in San Diego, these type of guys at your helm, as young as they are, you got to go on the trust the process mode. And that's exactly what Philadelphia did. So I
put talent around them and give them an opportunity to be successful.
Yeah. Or you shoot yourself in the foot. I mean, like I said, Arizona did that. I was totally against it, 1,000%. I was really upset when they pulled the trigger. I'm happy they did it 3 years later. But there's if you know your organization, you never want to be the team to pick a quarterback back-to-back years. I don't care what the situation is. It's a hard pill to swallow. So I definitely agree with Philadelphia on this one. We talked about Jimmy G, but what about Sam? is Sam gonna survive? Is Sam gonna survive the all season and be in New York next year? And is he gonna have a chance to compete for the starting quarterback? What do you think, Kenny?
Yeah, I think Sam is in the same boat as Jimmy G. I hope you rented and not bought because I think your days in New York are numbered. The whole the front officers went out to uh, the BYU quarterbacks. I can't think of his name to his pro day.
Zach Wilson.
You don't go out there. You don't go out there unless you're really doing your due diligence to see if this is going to be the guy that you're going to pick to lead your franchise. Because if they were sticking with Darnold, then they would have did what Philly did and traded down and got some, stockpile some more picks. The fact that they didn't do that says to me that they're drafting a quarterback, no question. So I think Sam Darnold is on his way out in New York.
Nate, I know you put Jimmy G as a hot take to be in Denver next year, but what about the possibilities of Sam Darnold if he leaves? Do you think he's going to stay in New York, or do you think he has a possibility of leaving and finding his way to Denver?
I don't think Sam Darnold's going. Whether they draft a quarterback or not, I don't think Sam Darnold's going. Maybe if he leaves next offseason, I think he probably will. I think they're going to keep him under for one more year, maybe so he can train most likely Zach Wilson, and then Sam Darnold goes somewhere else. I can see probably Pittsburgh.
Okay. So he's gonna be the quarterback coach this year, is what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I just had to make sure I was clarifying the situation. Josh, you agree? You disagree? Where you at in this?
Yeah, because me and Nate was talking earlier about it, so I could see that happening. Is they still draft a quarterback, and then this year they still play it out with Darnold, see how far they can get with him. They might yank him, but I still think they keep him this year. But ultimately, he's going to be gone. But I think this year he still can stay on the Jets. But like Kenny said, he's gone. You don't draft a quarterback that high, and think you're still going to have your job on that team. So.
I will say this though, if they do what I think they should do, and that's draft Penny Sewell, then I don't think Sam Darnold's going anywhere. That's even coming out of.
Yeah, they got a line there. He's definitely staying, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, if they draft Penny Sewell with as much hype as they've gotten over giving up that second pick, that is a failure. I think they could have brought the Yard House in with picks to get that second pick off.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And I mean, if they do that, you put them with Becton, the big lineman they drafted last year, and you have those two bookends to kind of solidify your line. And they did make some moves in free agency. They brought in is it Corey Davis, what's the guy from Tennessee?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they did make some moves to bring some skilled guys in. They still got some more work to do, but if they, I would be shocked. I would be totally shocked if they did that.
I mean, because I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. I feel like Sam Darnold's been on borrowed time. I feel like last year he should have been ghosted, and they should have moved away from him, especially as bad as they were going to be. Because you don't let a quarterback like that that you're not going to use the next year have that whole year. You move on, you make a move, maybe you look at another backup. The only way you let Sam Darnold play that year out is if you're planning on making Sam Darnold your permanent backup. There must be some relationship he has with the owners or something. You know what I mean? Because there's no reason for it. And you're killing his trade value. Because I think game one last year, Sam Darnold's trade value was a 7 or a 6 still. And I think right now it's more of like a 3, maybe a 4. So when I think the Jets have a chance to make this up here with this draft pick. Huh? Oh, but yeah, I think the Jets have a chance to make this up this year with this draft pick. And I hope they don't mess it up. I really do. Because they've been dragging it on and barely surviving now for the last couple of them.
Well, let me ask you this though: how much different is it if you draft a quarterback back to back or draft a quarterback what in 2 and 3 years?
I think it's
Penalty
a
because
big
this is
difference.
on the third year.
I think there's a big difference. I think you're giving your quarterback an honest shake in 3 years.
I don't know if you could say. I don't think you could say that with Sam Darnold. What skill guys has he? What skill guys has he had during that time he's been on the Jets to where you could say he had a I don't think he ever had a bona fide number one wide receiver since he's been a quarterback with the Jets.
Now,
Yeah,
Sam Darnold as a person and the Jets as an organization. Sam Darnold as a person, I totally agree with where you're going. He didn't have all the best tools. He didn't have the best situation. He had Adam Gase for all, you know what I mean? Goodness gracious.
Exactly.
So so I
Should
agree
get a
with that on
pass just for
Sam
that.
Darnold. I
Right.
agree with that on Sam Darnold. That's why going into last year, he still had a 7 or so in the trade value category. Because other teams are looking at him like, yo, he can still throw the ball. He can still make those reads. You know what I mean? He can still play a little football. Now on the Jets side, I think the Jets are washed with the Sam Darnold situation. I think they overused it. I think they made a mistake by bringing in a horrible quarterback coach that just had a horrible shake with a guy that went to another team and balled out. So you bring him in, who already to me has a bad sour taste in his mouth, and you bring him with a guy who's struggling, it's not gonna work. Because that's Adam Gase immediately. If I'm Adam, it's his fault. I gotta say it's his fault because I just had a quarterback issue. It's his fault, and he was already having issues when I got here. This ain't my guy. Let's get him out of here. So I think the Jets put themselves in a bad position by bringing in Adam Gase with a struggling quarterback.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Now, if you bring in a Marvin Lewis, you bring in, somebody with some more prestige to him that has a little bit more of a proven track record and has a better uh, quarterback development, track record. And we have this year that Sam Darnold's had by let bygones be bygones. I don't know if you where you're going, Sam Darnold, but it ain't gonna be here. Now, I'll tell you, from my point of view, I can see Sam Darnold playing in Chicago. That because that will be the Chicago Bears quarterback they can go out, not spend heck of money on, and have an upgrade from where they already have on their roster. And we both know, we all know, Chicago does not like spending money on their quarterbacks. So I can definitely see that happening. Um, let's play a little rank up. We ain't played no rank up. Actually, before we do that, now we didn't talk about a couple of these youngsters. We got some of the older guys, retiring and coming to the end of the year, and they retired already. Who's next in line to kind of take the throne on top of that? On top of that Mount Rushmore, so to speak, of NFL quarterbacks.
You want like three guys?
Yeah,
Just both conferences, NFC, AFC, just a mixture of both.
yeah. Who you think?
So I think Josh Allen. Well, of course, Mahomes. Then Josh Allen, and then I think people sleep on Murray. Kyler Murray's my guy. You know what I mean? Because if he didn't get hurt last year, that's shoulder injury, he would have.
Yeah,
I don't know. He would have did some damage. So I think he just fell off after that shoulder injury. But I think he gonna pass Lamar. Cause I wasn't sold on Lamar, even though he won the MVP. I still like him, but what I saw from Kyler before he got hurt, he's a beast.
I like that. I like that. What about you?
Oh, shocking.
Oh yeah. Okay, I see now.
So I think Mahomes and Josh Allen, the two obvious ones for me.
Yeah.
Watson, depending on if he plays for another team next year. But I am going to go for maybe a sleeper take. No, not Luck. But I am sticking with the AFC West. I'm going Herbert.
Mhm.
Because him winning that Rookie of the Year. I know as a Chargers organization they did not do well, but that's mostly I blame that on their defensive coordinator, which by the way is now with the Raiders. Um, so their Chargers quarterback in Herbert, I think he's gonna have a phenomenal career.
Yeah. No, Justin's a baller. He definitely is, man. He definitely
He
is.
proved it.
What about you, Kenny?
Yeah, I think the first two everybody is in agreement in terms of the first two, and that third one that's the tough one, and I think um man I think it's a tough call between Herbert and Lamar Jackson for me. I think Lamar Jackson is a combination of running, and I think he's going to become he's taking steps to becoming a better quarterback. And I think we still haven't seen him reach his highest level as being a throwing quarterback. We already know what he is as a runner, but
Right.
I think if the Ravens surround him with some real, some legitimate weapons outside in terms of wide receivers, like no disrespect to Dez Bryant, but as a Cowboy, but you, that lets you know like where they were in terms of the state of affairs, and when you basically had to bring Dez in off the street uh, to try to help your offense. So I think if he gets the requisite weapons, if he gets the guys that can really make something happen outside, I think Lamar Jackson will be the third guy. But Justin Herbert, man, he has some serious arm talent, as they like to say. So you can't go wrong either way. But I'm going to pick Lamar Jackson because I think there's still a ceiling that he can get to as a passer.
Man, yeah, I think we all the first two, man. But I will say Josh Allen is becoming one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. Every single game I watch that man play. So he just gives it his all. So, but yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, obviously. Now the next one, I got three, and,
We know who one of them is, but go ahead.
Right.
and they all got their own elements. So Justin, I like Justin's arm strength. I like the way he makes decisions with the ball. I like Kyler's decision making. I like the way he runs and when he runs. I like the fact that he wants to be a pocket quarterback, even though he's so talented on his feet. And then there's Lamar. I want to say Lamar and just walk away, but he is not as talented as these other guys we've mentioned, quarterback wise. Actually, in the pocket throwing that football, I think he's not there. And as far as his decision making of when he runs, I think a lot of that has to do with Mr. Harbaugh, but I don't think he's there either. On Kyler's level, on making the decision when to run or when to throw. And then, of course, he doesn't have the same arm strength as Justin. So they all got their little mixes, but I think those three right there, I got to leave it as an honorable mention group and not put them, not pick one, because they all got their things, and I think either one of them can break out and take that spot.
Man,
But
pick your boy, man. Pick your boy, man.
Yeah, man, you got to pick one.
gotta pick your boy.
Everybody
Pick
pick
your
three.
boy.
You got to pick one.
I got to go with my guy then.
There you go. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I got to go with my guy then.
Yeah,
And we got and he got an Arsenal this year, so he gonna
That's
make
what
it
I'm
look good this year anyway.
Sheesh.
That was addition to AJ Green.
AJ Green.
Ooh. I'm hoping
D
somehow,
Hop.
some way we could trade up or something. We could draft like Kyle Pitts. Oh my god.
Oh, that would be stupid.
Oh, that would
Oh
change
my
the
goodness,
game,
yeah,
man.
that'd be stupid.
That would change the game. Let's play a little ranking, y'all. All right. So we got Zach Levine, De'Aaron Fox, John Wall. Who you got, Nate?
In order, I'm gonna go 3-1. I'm gonna go with Wall at my number 3. And then I'm gonna go 3-1-2, and I'm gonna go De'Aaron Fox and then Zach Levine. De'Aaron Fox, I mean, just because he's on the Sacramento Kings does not mean he's a bad player. I mean, the Sacramento Kings, and then you go in the hockey lands. They with the LA team over there in hockey. I think those two teams, even though I don't see them going in, with the Sacramento Kings, I can see them going in, maybe making a 8th team at best with De'Aaron Fox. He's just been crazy. John Wall, I put him at number one. Not number one, number three. I just think it's because with the addition of John Wall, he's good and all, but entering into this last season, it's just been
He hasn't done his thing. He ain't got the feet
Yeah.
back on him yet.
yeah. And then Zach LaVine, I put him at number two because I felt like he's just in between both those guys.
Josh?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I'm putting Fox number one because I'm here on the Bay, so I see a lot of Sacramento games. Even though I don't watch, I just watch their highlights because they some bums. But hey, Fox he's nice. He was nice in college. He came over straight from college. You know what I'm saying? Rookie year, he just been lighting the league up. You know what I mean? He just got better and better and better. So because we doing present, right? That's only here because Walmart.
Yeah.
But LaVine, now I put my boy Wall. A healthy Wall is nice. You know what I mean? Like, look at that boy number. That boy Wall could do a lot, man. He got the handles. He could shoot. He got a shot. I just like Wall, man. I just like his game since he being out of college, man. And then I put Zach because the only thing I know about Zach really is the Duncan. That Duncan, he a beast though. You know what I'm saying? He can get to the hole. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He'll put you on the poster. But I think my list would go Fox, John Wall, and Zach LaVine.
There, I couldn't think of the right word, but I feel like when I was giving the hockey analogy earlier, I felt like the LA Kings was the most not underrated but underappreciated team in hockey. And now going into the with the Sacramento Kings, I kind of feel the same way.
Before I go to you, Kenny, I was supposed to ask y'all. I don't know why I didn't write it down, but I'm gonna say it because it was a better matchup of the three. It was supposed to be Shea Alexander.
Oh yeah.
Wall. So I apologize, y'all.
You can run it back.
I don't think it does. It change your number one?
Nah, no with Fox.
Nate?
No.
All right, Kenny. The real
Oh
question.
no, it changes mine. Because to me, I'm going. If we're going with that, it's SGA for me is number one.
Okay, well,
yeah, that the young fella, just to me, he just came in the league and just established himself from the gate. And he's played, on winning teams, although not this year. But I just think he just has a moxie about him, and he just has a go-getter and just a take charge about him that I really like. And now that he's had the opportunity for this to be his team, he stepped up his play and he's putting up big numbers before he went down. So I got him number one. I think De'Aaron Fox is just a left-handed version of John Wall because he has that same type of speed. Right. And he just brings it down your throat, and he's just super quick and athletic. And he's also streaky as a shooter, similar to Wall. So I think that's the next step for De'Aaron Fox is once he really gets that consistent gets that J consistent, and he's gets a little more efficiency to his game. Then the sky's the limit for them. I really want to see them be able to add one more piece so they could really get into that playoff hunt. Because I think they're building something there. They got some young guys and some young talent there. So if they could ever get one more piece, I think they could really, get into that playoff contender status. So I got him number two, and as hard as it is for me to put John Wall because this guy's a multi-time All-Star. He's been to the playoffs, but just just the injuries that he's gone through, and the situation that he's in, I just really feel for the dude because he just went from he kind of went from Russia to Siberia. He was already kind of in a bad situation in Washington, and he just went from bad to worse. You know what I'm saying? So I just really feel bad for him because I want to see because the dude he's a big time competitor and he got dog in him and he want all the smoke. So but yeah, that's my list. SGA 1, De'Aaron Fox 2, and John Wall 3.
I'm gonna flip flop the 1 and 2. De'Aaron Fox it's just a passion. It ain't just how good he is, it's his passion. Because when I see De'Aaron Fox on the court, I know De'Aaron Fox is on the court. You hear him, you see him. He's sliding across the floor on defense or on a trap ball, and he's the best player on both ends of the court on their team. And I think that like you said, Josh, he came out of college and just hit the floor running, man. And he's gotten better every single year.
Exactly.
And that's a reflection of his passion again. And I think that sometimes passion trumps skill, in a head-to-head matchup. So I'm gonna go De'Aaron Fox, Shea, and no disrespect to my boy, but John Wall is number 3 right now. And a lot of that again is just these two youngsters, man. They came in with their feet moving already, grabbed that pavement and took off, and they haven't looked back. And especially since Shea got the keys to the car. He got the keys to the car, and he took off for real. So,
yeah, just to piggyback off a couple of things you said, I think Kenny, you said they one piece away to the Kings. I think it's the coach. I think what Walton is horrible.
Always.
I mean, I think it's more of the coaching than the players. They should be way better than.
But I think they just got they don't have they have a mix of young guys and then some kind of guys, and I think they hit and miss on Harrison Barnes. Like they thought that he was gonna.
Yeah, I don't know why
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think if they could upgrade him, then they would, because they got Bagley, they got Buddy Hield, they got De'Aaron Fox, so they got some pieces. They just need that one more to put them over the top.
Yeah, and I think the Lakers, you know what I'm saying, they ain't kicking themselves now because they got LeBron, but they would have took Fox instead of Lonzo. That'd have been nice.
Yeah.
That's true.
Last rank them. Ezekiel Elliott, Delvin Cook, Alvin Kamara. I'm gonna go to you first, Nate.
So I'm just gonna say this with that a bad offensive line that Dallas has. Their defense is also pretty bad, but going back to that offensive line, because of that bad offensive line, I feel like a lot of injuries are going to happen next year with Dallas. And I'm just going to say that point blank. For that reason, I feel like I'm just going to put Ezekiel Elliott at number 3. Number 2.
Just smiling for Jay.
What?
Go ahead, Nate.
I'm just saying, as what I can see, this is also off of what I can see going on next year. That's what I'm basing this off of. Number 2, I got to go with Dalvin Cook. Number 1, I'm going with Alvin Kamara. This not out of what has been going on in the past. I'm saying off of what I can see going on next year.
So that's your prediction for next year.
Yeah, that's how I'm doing it.
Okay, Josh.
I mean, just talent wise, I'm just ranking them as, you know what I'm saying, as I know them, I've seen them in the past, and you know what I'm saying, present or whatever. So I still got talent wise and, you know what I'm saying, playmaking ability. I still got Zeke number 1. You know what I mean? Because I like Zeke. You know what I mean? Like when he on. You know what I mean? Like the other two, they up there with him a little bit, but I think Zeke is a step ahead of him when he on. He had a bad year this year or last year, so I'm gonna give him a little pass. But because there's a lot going on in Dallas, you know what I'm saying? They lost Dak. It was just a lot going on, so I'm gonna give Zeke the number one spot, then Kamara, and then Cook. You know what I'm saying? He torches my boys a lot though, but going against them 2-3 ain't that bad.
Kenny?
Come on now, you know what it is. You know who's number one.
That's
Come
what I
on
was
now.
asking.
Hey,
Come on now. Come on now.
Just being
The
real.
best combination of runner, receiver, power.
Right.
Because out of those three guys, you know, when you talk about all of those categories and all of those check marks, like, and it's not me being a homer, but in terms of if you got a receiver, you got a guy that can catch it out the backfield, you got a guy that can run it first or third down, the guy is a short yards, the guy who's the goal line. I think if you're looking at all three of those guys, Zeke is the most complete out of when you put it in that, you know, when you look at it that criteria. And then Kamara, to me, he's more of a receiver than he is a runner. Like, to me, he's better as a receiver than he is as a runner because he's not as good in the short yardage and goal line. They really don't use him like that in the goal line. So I probably put Dalvin Cook. I'm actually gonna put Dalvin Cook too because I think he has that in terms of that receiving, also that power uh, in terms of those criteria. So if I'm going by that criteria, I got Zeke 1, Dalvin Cook 2, and Kamara 3.
I will say this though. Off of talent, I'll put Ezekiel Elliott at 1.
I don't want to hear that. You put him 3. You can't come back. No.
Time out.
I'm taking that number 3.
Hear that?
Hey, Jay, he's scared.
Hey, don't renege now. You can't renege, man.
He want to be able to walk around town and Dallas. That's what it is. Yeah, he worried about the fans.
Like I said before.
You said next year prediction. I heard you.
So,
yeah.
Listen.
Prediction for next year because of his bad situation.
All right, Nate, we're going to start calling you Freddie. You doing the flip-flop.
Hey, man, the card started.
Light skin Freddie.
Yin and yang. No, but I hear you coming with the complete bag, but I think as far as just all around explosiveness, consistency, catching the ball, running the ball, Alvin Kamara has proved it year in, year out. He's gonna do it. He's gonna show up. He's gonna come back from injury and do it. It don't matter what you do, he's gonna show up. And I think that next year we're gonna see a morphing Kamara because he's not gonna have Drew Brees back there to do his thing. He's about to go Power Rangers on these people.
Yeah, it's gonna be his team.
Yeah, exactly. He's about to go Power Rangers on them. So I think
I can see that.
I think Kamara, Zeke, and no matter what, as much as I dislike the Cowboys, Zeke struggled, the team struggled, and Zeke still was good. So, you know, his sitting on the sideline when he came in, he bust off 35 yards. They pulled him because they don't want him to get tired or hurt or something, but he still looked good. And
you know, you got Collins coming back. Well, Collins is coming back. Hopefully, Tyron Smith can stay healthy, so that line could be better next year. So it remains to be seen. Still got Zach Martin.
I'm hoping, you know, for the sake of the Cardinals, you guys aren't doing good. And
of course,
the whole NFC is not good.
You and Josh in the same boat. I know it.
But the whole NFC ain't good. Cause we taking the Super Bowl this year. I don't know what y'all gonna do.
You see, I didn't put my boy Jordan Love in that young quarterback category. I think he about to be trash.
Hey, you know though, Jordan ain't bad. Like when they made that hit, I wasn't mad at him because I understood Jordan was he dropped to that position. You need a backup. You're used to having Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers is sitting behind Brett Favre. I mean, you're used to having somebody stashed. I don't know why the fan base was tripping anyway.
But I understand.
Not trade up though, man. You gotta get weapons. You gotta give Aaron Rodgers weapons, man. Because he get Tay vision, man. When he get Tay vision, it's all bad. And you saw what happened.
That's true, but Aaron Rodgers, look at Aaron Rodgers. Somehow the Green Bay Packers knew that this was their guy. And if they needed to get Aaron Rodgers the year they drafted him, they had to trade up to get him, and we were sitting back talking all this stuff, and it turned out to be Aaron Rodgers, we gonna say the same thing. Like, dang. So I don't know why they did it. I do know that they always have somebody in reserve.
Yeah.
And this just may be that we might be
I
calling
hope
it
you prove
Bugs
me
King
wrong.
in a couple
Yeah.
years.
I hope you prove me wrong because trading
Yeah,
that
you better hope he don't see the field for the next 2 years.
man, exactly.
He gonna be about 4.
I check that.
Aaron wants to play. That's the crazy part about Aaron.
You
He
got to
really
restructure
does
that
want to play.
contract, though.
Yeah.
Now,
But I mean, with that being said, any closing statements, anything else you guys want to throw out there?
No, it's just now it's the arms race basically with the NBA. We got the arms race between LA and Brooklyn, and now we're gonna see who's gonna be healthy. That's gonna be the deciding factor. Which guys are able to come back healthy between LeBron, AD, and KD. So it's all set up for the Clash of the Titans, but now health is going to decide whether or not that we actually see that matchup. So that's my closing thing.
Yeah, just to piggy off that KD thing. All right, go ahead, Jay. My bad.
No, go ahead.
I think it might be worse than what they saying. You know what I mean? Like they loading up because they don't know how they think it's worse than what they leading on to. You know what I mean? So
That's
I mean,
real.
they could be just, you know what I'm saying, stacking up because that's what they give themselves the best chance to win. But on the other hand, it could be like, man, KD might be, they don't know. You know what I
You got a
mean?
point.
So
I didn't think about that.
I think it's
Yeah,
either way. You know what I mean? Like they could be loading up just because he could, you know what I'm saying, go out there like he did with us in the finals and snap it real easy.
Yeah.
yeah. Those hamstrings are tricky, so you got a point.
And he's already come off of the worst Achilles injury, one of the worst I've seen.
So
Nate,
well,
any last statements?
I have two things. One, I'm just going to remind everybody, for those people that are out there in the comment section today, if you want to win a free T-shirt, all you have to do is just watch the show, be engaged the show, comment the show, and the person that gets the most comments by the end of the month wins that free T-shirt. But say for a second that you didn't win it for this month, but you still want a free T-shirt. Just message one of us, and it's $14.99 plus shipping and handling. Sizes go from small to XL. If you wear a 3XL or bigger, it does cost $1 or $2 extra, but that's not a lot. And then the second thing is that lead into the next show. Coming up right after this, Greg and I will be discussing what to expect for the opening series as baseball starts up on Wednesday.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Go Yankees.
Oh, goodness. Here we go. We're going to be doing this all season and another season, Kenny.
Go Yankees, baby.
Giants, baby. Giants. Hey,
I definitely can't mess with you, Josh. I definitely can't. You know where I'm at. So I definitely can't mess with you.
Hey, I'm a big Rangers fan.
But one thing, y'all can check out my podcast or my live stream. It's called Stay Tuned Podcast, man. We love what y'all doing over here too, man. Hopefully y'all could come over there and we could collab one time. So it come on 7 p.m. West Coast time. So I mean every Tuesday.
I would love to come
check us out, man. I'll tag y'all. I already friended y'all, so man, it's all
one thing though I want to say, man. I've been thinking about saying it for a minute, but I'm gonna go ahead and get it off my chest. I really, really, really am just disappointed in the sports world of how much and how hard we jumped on Deshaun Watson without proof, without going through the ringer, without seeing any evidence, without doing all the normal due diligence that we are supposed to do before we bring somebody out and then ruin their careers. Especially after Chad Wheeler was swept under the rug and we ain't heard his name, we ain't seen him in court, we ain't seen nothing after all those pictures and all the evidence that they showed the day one when this dude's name came up. I just really think that, it's a story. Yeah, it's in our face. Yes, it's the biggest thing right now because of the trade and everything and all that good stuff. But I just don't like how we are so quick to dump our black quarterbacks in the trash can on the quick draw and not even have a real drawn out evidence, real concrete evidence, man. It's one slip and you're gone, whether it comes back right or wrong. And we got to stop that. I think we're putting collectively, everybody has been putting Deshaun through the ringer. And I just don't understand how a guy like Chad Wheeler, whose evidence was right in front of us, I mean, he beat a woman and those pictures were pretty bad. And we just kind of let it go and let it slide. We never talked about it again. So I'm not here saying I agree with anything that Deshaun Watson has done if those allegations are true. I don't condone any of that, but I also condone, innocent until proven guilty, and don't ruin a man's career if it turns out not to be true. So, with that being said, that's my last words on that. But again, we're here Mondays and Thursdays. Right after this, we got Nate the Great. Definitely get on and check us out. All right.
Nate.
So long, though.
All right.